Gary, thanks for being with us, as always.
My pleasure, guys. I don't have much to say about Alabama. I said everything I can in 3.5 hours. I'm tired.
Yeah, on Saturday, one of the comments you made was nobody does this, and that was when Tua made that pass to
Well,
Waddle
you
going across
tried
the
to,
field.
right?
I tried
You.
many
Yeah,
times.
I know how hard this is. Hitting players on a windy day in dead stride with a linebacker barreling in at you full speed, and whether you feel it, you don't necessarily see it. Some guys can't throw like that, and some guys could. The ones who can really play quarterback, but there were again 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4 throws in that game where you just shake your head and go, "Geez, I wish I could do that."
Where does Tua rank in your mind as far as quarterbacks you have seen just through the years as a former quarterback and in a pro ball and all that? And then also, where does this offense in your mind rank for Alabama?
Well, the biggest difference that Tua has going for him is the talent around him. I tried to explain this to people, and they don't quite catch it. In any other sport, the players that Tua is playing with, there's 7 or 8 of them that would already be professional athletes. But because of the way the rules are in football, you have to play 3 years. Literally, when you look at his offense, Jonah Williams in any other sport is already playing and getting paid millions of dollars. The receivers, Judy Smith and Ruggs, are already playing professional sports in basketball or golf or hockey. They're already pros. Damian Harris is pro. He's playing with them. Josh Jacobs is going to be a tremendous running back in the NFL. He does everything. Catches the ball. He's physical, shifty, great size. Not even getting to the defense. Now, add a professional quarterback to this mix, and it's deadly. And by the way, the way he is being coached now, Mike Loxley and Dan Enos and Nick giving them the freedom, they could be winning by 3 touchdowns every game, running the ball and passing, doing the fullback in the flat or the tight end check down, the easy things they used to do. And then every once in a while you throw the post pattern to get Lane putting his hands up for a touchdown signal. But now they're throwing it, like everybody else is, and it's almost impossible to stop. And I don't, like I said, I understand the criticism that this year Alabama's schedule so far doesn't match up. I get that, but yeah, give me a few names of teams you think that could beat them, because it's a handful that could beat them.
Gary, what is your analysis of the Alabama defense? When the offense has jumped out to these big leads, it seems as if the defense sort of loses a little bit of intensity and gives up some uncharacteristic points. But what's your overall assessment of the Alabama defense?
Number one is I don't think it's 216, 15. That 16 team I thought was loaded. There probably was the 2011 team. Because of the year before in 2010, they had gotten a little bit embarrassed with those losses. They came back with a vengeance the next year. I don't think they're quite to that level. And I think they had a bit of a learning curve, especially inside, with the safeties and the inside linebackers. But the point I tried to make is, everybody's improving. But Alabama gets coached hard too, and they're getting better. And now with the emergence of Deontay Thompson, who's really all over the field, now making plays and directing traffic, I actually think, if Trayvon Diggs hadn't gotten hurt, they might even be a little better at corner than some of their past teams. So now with the way the offense is gathering all the oxygen, all that oxygen used to go to the Alabama defense. The Alabama defense. Now that oxygen is going to the offense, and quietly this defense is really rounding into shape and becoming a major player for this football team. Again, modern football with the right quarterback and being able to throw the RPOs and the tunnel screens, all the things you can do with the 50-50 balls and the back shoulder throws. There's no defense alive that isn't susceptible to a hot quarterback. But it's going to take a special team to beat them, because this year's team's going to score 35 every game. And so now, you're in a chase. Every time you punt twice in the first half, you're going, oh my gosh, we're in trouble. That's what this team is looking at now.
Do you think it hurts defenses' stats as well when they have a high-powered offense? Because it seems like, if you look at a lot of the teams that are out there, they struggle. I think, too, when you're up by or down by 28 or down by 35, that the offensive coaches get out of all their tendencies. They start doing things they wouldn't normally do. And here you are as the defensive coordinator and coaches. You've looked all week at tendencies and how this team reacts, what formations they're out of. Now they're totally off script, and you're, in a sense, kind of guessing, would it be better for teams to just play off script from the very beginning and think they're down by 28 against this Alabama team?
I think they try to, but every time they make a mistake, the other, Alabama puts 7 points on the board, which is really just, hey, as an announcer, I felt the air go out of my energy. And when a sack fumble, I could feel it. I can only imagine what it's like for a player, or the fans at that stadium, because you basically knew after Xavier McKinney forced the fumble, the game was over. We were just, what will the score be? That's the last thing we were looking at. So, I get all of that, but it doesn't mean, there's a little bit of a letdown. I understand that when you're way up. The style of game's a little different. It's more wide open. There's going to be more yards in the game. It was one of my themes when we talked in SEC media days, Jay, I believe we talked. My point was, with Nick's mind's eye, the way he looks at a game and the way he has his pride in his defense, would he be able to handle a wide open game with more yards within the game? Well, he's obviously been able to handle it. This team's going to give up more yards just because it's the type of game. It's like playing Golden State Warriors. You're going to score more, but they're going to score more. So the defense has to get used to it a little bit, and the Alabama fan has to not get caught up in comparing these stats for this defense to past defenses, because it's just a different style of play.
Gary, what is your early analysis of the Florida-Georgia game this weekend, right, which really it's almost like a national championship elimination or a playoff elimination game?
Right. Well, first of all, I'm as surprised as anybody else is about Florida. I thought it would be a typical rebuild for Dan Mullen, the same type of thing that Alabama had to go through in Nick Saban's first year, and Georgia had to go when Kirby walked in. Jeremy's got a lot further to go at Tennessee, but when Kirby went in there at Georgia, it took a year. I was using the phrase with Kirby his first year that, he may have all of the right ideas of how to build a program, but he doesn't have fairy dust. You just can't sprinkle, some fairy. Here, I give you my Alabama post-game and pre-game practice reports and how we watch film, and all of a sudden we're going to have great players. But Florida seems, if you look back, because of the coaching change with Coach McElwain last year, I think the team really underachieved. They probably were better than the way they played last year. So all of us that thought maybe it would take longer, well, they're a pretty legit football team. They run the ball pretty well. Their defense is as salty as ever. They're very confident. The irony of this game is, and it's hard for me to almost put it in words here, is I would have never thought that Felipe Franks, who a year ago was under such duress as a player, he gets a new coach, and he has a feeling that the program and the coach is behind him. Whereas Jake Fromm at Georgia took a team within one play of a national championship, and he feels a distraction and he's got the same coach, and he feels like, wait a second, Danielson on CBS is talking about Fields, talk radio. If you look at Twitter, the coach is rotating us in games. I would have never guessed that it seems to be that the Florida has the quarterback situation. Not that he's better, but the program is more aligned there when it is at Georgia right now. It would be impossible to predict going into it. And that's why this bye week is so huge. It might be the open of our game. I have no idea what's going to happen with the quarterback situation when this game gets into the second quarter. Will Kirby,
Gary Danielson joining us.
Will Kirby say, I'm going with Franz? Justin, I gave you 6 weeks. You didn't beat him out. Or is he going to go to Jake? Jake, I gave you every possibility to own the job. Now I'm going to rotate in Justin Fields. I literally have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Gary Danielson joining us, CBS Sports. One of the big topics here, and we've talked about it a lot the last couple of days, is Devin White and the ejection. Now out for a half and less than 2 weeks for this LSU-Alabama matchup. James Carville, I don't know if you heard him. He was on Paul Feinbaum's network, on the SEC network, giving the SEC a hard time and saying it's collusion with this Alabama program. I'd just like to get your take on the call itself, and is that good for people to be talking about collusion with the SEC office and the University of Alabama?
Well, James is good at stirring stuff up, I guess. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not think it was a targeting. It reached the level of targeting. I think it could have been roughing the passer. I think it deserved 15 yards or 15 yards plus taunting plus celebration. I don't have any problem with that. I felt that his hands hit the player first. I don't even know if their helmets collided. I couldn't see that. I thought his first hand hit Fitzgerald just above the numbers and then rode up. And that's the way I've always been explained to me, is that it's where the initial contact is made. And I thought Devin, as I said on the air, I yelled at my grandkids for pushing each other as hard as that before. And I don't mind it being a penalty. It is a defenseless player. I think it's over the top to eject a player from the next game for that. And that's how I saw it. That's how I saw the play. I do not believe that there's collusion or anything like that. I know all the people there, and they go out of their way to, try to be as fair to both sides. They feel everybody watching them, just like when I do a game. I feel both sides listening to me. Just as an aside, when I'm doing an Alabama-Tennessee game, through the whole game, I'm trying to say, what can I say good about Tennessee? Because I know their fans care about their, what can I say good? What can I say good? And then I go, well, I better give Alabama some props. I mean, they are winning the game by 40 points here, like that. So I'm sure the office went through the same thing. I know they're not going to change the rule. They're not going to change it this week. But I do think the rule is too much. I for 5 years, I've been saying there needs to be something in between ejection and incidental contact.
I just wonder if it's somebody maybe in the legal team of the office saying, keep ejection, because we want to make sure that people know we're serious about this and we don't worry repercussions coming back against the conference or against the league.
That would be a shame.
Concussions and other things we've seen.
That.
I know it'd be a shame. I'm just saying that mean. Yeah. Gary, thank you, my man. As always.
You got it. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.